Did you know that your gut and the rest of your body are constantly listening to your mind? That's right. Your thoughts, your beliefs, and your awareness play a direct role in your physical healing. As a gut health specialist and a board-certified gastroenterologist, I have seen many times how mindset can change even the most severe and stubborn and chronic symptoms in people who are willing to make a change. Today, we're diving deep in how your mind can be the most powerful medicine. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Gut Feeling podcast, where we digest modern medicine with old world wisdom. My name is Dr. Alexandra Shustina, and I am your host for this weekly podcast. And we're going to dive right in today on how you can make your mind your medicine. Number one, healing does not begin with fixing. It begins with accepting. Very often patients come to me, and many times they're really frustrated because they have already tried so many things before they come to me. We're frequently a second or third or fourth opinion after years of disappointment. And people come and they're frustrated and they want to fix the problem. And this is causing them a tremendous amount of frustration. They're frustrated that they have this issue. They're frustrated that has not worked. And their primary goal is to fix. But the first start is not to fix. The first start is to accept. You may think, okay, accept? Oh, what's the point? I'm not giving up. But giving up and acceptance are two very different things. Acceptance is accepting the current reality. The current reality is this problem exists in the way that it is. Or maybe it's not a problem at all. This symptom, this feeling, this reality is as it is in this current state. And I accept that. It doesn't mean I give up. It doesn't mean I don't want to move forward. It doesn't mean that I don't want to change it. It just means one thing. I am at peace with the current reality. I am not at war. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means acknowledging where you are right now. So if it is a Crohn's flare, or if it is constipation or abdominal pain or fatigue or brain fog, it is saying, I acknowledge this is where I am. And I've made peace with my present state. And why is this important? Because when we try to fight the reality, we go into fight or flight mode. We go into anxiety mode. We go into stress mode. When we can say, I'm at peace with the reality, we immediately take the anxiety down. We acknowledge that the reality may not be what we want, but we accept that it is as is. And that is the first stage of healing. That is the first stage of healing anything. We're talking about health. We're talking about gut health. But really, any problem can be approached like this. Acceptance. Making peace with the reality. It is as is. Does not mean that it has to stay that way. You can ask yourself, can I meet my symptoms with compassion rather than frustration? And many of you will notice when you start to do that, your symptoms automatically will get better because so much of our problems is worrying about it and attaching anxiety to it and attaching frustration to it. Just looking at it and accepting it is the first stage that in and of itself can start the healing process and create results. Number 2, do not judge. Just observe the story. Your thoughts can be like clouds. Just let them float without getting caught in the storm. Judgment is one of the biggest barriers to healing because we place an assessment based on our own judgment if something is good or bad. So if I have a symptom or if you have a symptom, whether it is abdominal pain or change in bowel habits or fatigue or brain fog, joint pain, anxiety, is it bad or good? Well, that is determined by the judgment we give because sometimes the symptoms are messages. And these messages can create such a big opening if we attach a positive judgment or no judgment, if we just flow as is. But if we assume this is bad And then we start the process of judgment, and the judgment creates stress. This is bad. I shouldn't feel this way. Does that sound familiar? I have so many patients who say, well, I've been eating healthy for 10 years. I shouldn't have this symptom. I shouldn't have this problem. I look at all my friends and I see how they're eating pizza and they're drinking coffee and they're going to sleep late and they're not sleeping enough and they're not exercising and they're fine. But what I have, that's bad. I don't understand why this is happening. When we judge the experience, we add a layer upon layer of stress to the problem. And that activates the sympathetic system, the fight or flight system, the inflammatory system, instead of taking it down and just observing. Another aspect of non-judgment is separating yourself from your systems, separating yourself from the symptom or the problem. So if I just observe it, then I can say my anxiety is not me. Me, who I am, is connected to my higher self where there is no disease, where there is no anxiety, where there is no whatever you can fill the blank with. But if I attach myself to the symptom and I create a judgment with it, then that adds an extra layer of stress. And now instead of helping the problem heal, I've added and I've compounded. So how can we do this? Okay, let's say you have pain. What are you going to do? If in the past you would say, oh, my gut is a mess. What am I going to do? It hurts. I'm not going to be able to go to work. I'm not going to be able to go on vacation. I'm not going to be able to go to dinner. And instead, what if you try this approach instead? I notice tightness in my belly. I observe the tightness and move on. I noticed that the bowel movement that I had was not formed. Put it aside. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is. And when I can separate the judgment from the process, then I can disconnect myself from it, not in a way of denial, but in a way of not identifying with it. And I've said this many times. Unfortunately, we as doctors have not done well with this because we call people cancer patients, Crohn's patients. The disease has an identity, and the person identifies with the disease. And now those two are together. They're merged. They're married. And that is a very difficult obstacle to conquer. However, if someone has tightness in their belly or diarrhea or whatever it is, it's not part of the identity. The identity is a healthy, happy, vibrant person who at this point is experiencing something that is a message. And once that person listens to that message, not only can that situation be healed, but that person can be in a different place than they were before. And I've had many patients already who started the process with me because they were feeling physically ill. And they had a symptom that worried them. And they had a concern. But when we shifted the situation and they did the work along with the mindset work, not only did their physical situation shift, but unexpected things happened. They came to me for their gut health, but their anxiety improved. Their relationships improved. They slept better. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, I asked them, are you happy you went through this process? Because look where you are now. And they're grateful for it. And no longer was that symptom or that problem or that condition or that diagnosis a negative thing. It was a stimulus for growth. This has already been proven that if we repeat this process, then we can have lasting results. So the practice of non-judgment rewires this brain. Using mindfulness-based stress reduction therapy in IBS patients, it has already been shown to reduce symptoms. Just being mindful, observing without judgment, in and of itself was able to reduce symptoms in IBS patients. Number 3, taking responsibility. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself or blaming someone else. Taking responsibility activates your power in the process. Healing isn't just something that happens to you passively. Healing is something that you participate in. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about taking back your power. I can't control everything, but I can control on how I show up in the process. I'm taking responsibility for my share in this process. Whatever that means, starting the first step of taking responsibility is openness. Is hearing what it is that I can do to be an active participant in my healing journey. It can be uncomfortable. And the truth is the way that we have been taught in the medical world is the opposite of that. And this is the way that I was trained. You may have heard this. Well, don't worry. You don't need to change anything. Not your lifestyle doesn't matter. And your diet doesn't matter as long as you take the pill. That's being a passive recipient. My health is in someone else's hands. But that is not the truth. The truth is that we have a lot of power. Sometimes the power is in willing to do what it takes, whether it's changing your diet or changing your mindset. But sometimes it's just being there for yourself and holding space and not judgment and understanding that that is a part that I am playing an important part in my healing journey because I am an active participant, not a passive recipient. So ask yourself today, what can I do today to support my body with kindness? What can I do today to support my body with consistency? And take an active role. You may not have all the answers of how to move forward for every day for the next 6 months, but for now, you do what you know and you do what you can, and that is enough. And the fourth thing is letting go. Letting go of anything that holds me back. It could be letting go of control. I am not in control of this world. I can do my best. I can try my hardest. I can change and grow, but I am not God and I am not in control of the world. And that automatically takes the burden off. That automatically takes the burden off because I can only do what I can and I can have faith and I can have happiness. And that is enough. And I let go of the need to control. That's for some people. You can fill in the blank with anything. Blame and regret. Many of us live in the past there. We can choose to let it go. For some people, it's forgiveness. Letting go of what someone did to me because what they did is on them. But if it still lives within me, that's on me. And I can choose to let it go. That doesn't change the situation, but it reclaims my power. And it takes the power away from that person. And sometimes that is all that is needed because many of us live with resentment and anger and hold on to the past. Sometimes we have guilt and shame for what we did, but none of that moves us forward. None of that helps us get to where we want. It just holds us back so we can make an active choice. I did the best at the time that I knew. If I knew what I knew today, if I was the person that I am today, I would not have done that, but I wasn't. And if someone else did something bad to me and someone hurt me or stole from me or whatever it is, that's on that person. And I already experienced that hurt. I choose not to let that person control me. And neuroscience has shown that to be true. Letting go rewires the brain to let go of the overactive monkey brain, the constant hyperactivity. From a gut health perspective, that helps calm the enteric nervous system, the nervous system that lives in the gut, and improve digestion. If you want a simple practice, put your hand on your heart and take some deep breaths. And as you exhale, let go. Let go of the resentment, the pain, the guilt, the shame, and just say, I release. And over time, you will notice a difference. And over time, the heaviness will lift. And over time, you will heal. And that is true healing from the root source. And when you let go of this, you not only heal your body, you heal from the inside out. And that is a blessing. Your body isn't just a machine. It's a mirror of your mind. And your mind is not just a passive witness. It's a partner in your healing. By practicing acceptance, non-judgment, letting go, and taking responsibility, you create an inner condition in your body where healing is not just possible, it's inevitable. So today, take one mindful breath and remember, your body hears everything your mind says. So speak to it with love. Thank you for watching. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe. Please share with your friends. We have so much more on wholegut.com. Stay healthy, stay gutsy, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.